right, so we just want to go over some basics of using the roller. So we're going to get a little finish spread out. We'll show you some basic ways when you're using that field, how to use it, and then just talk about some other things like speed, listening to the roller, patting it out if I think I've got too much. So we'll just go ahead and get started here, pouring our line out against the headboards like we regularly would. We already have actually this roller loaded up with finish, so I'm not going to have to season it or load it up, but we'll talk just a little bit about that. Anywhere where we use the cut-in pad, because it's always application rate, the roller puts the finish down nice and heavy. And the cut-in pad, especially people tend to put it down a little thinner. They usually put a little pressure on the cut-in pad, pulling it thin. So you always want to go back over where you cut in with your roller. So we'll always go back against our headboard, roll that out anywhere up the sides, roll that out too. All right, so that we have the same application rate across the whole floor. And then some basic ways to use the roller. The first way is going to be laying our roller behind our puddle, pulling it towards us, pushing it back, and feathering up. Then we overlap about 75%, pull the puddle towards us, push back, go back, beyond where we started, and feather out. So pull, push, feather, overlap, pull, push, feather, pull, push, feather. All right, another way to use it, the other thing is notice the direction I'm using the roller. So there is a heavier and a lighter side. The side with my cage on it here is a little bit heavier. So I always want to lead with that going across. That way it's heavier and I'm feathering on my backside. So whether I'm doing the pull, push, feather, pull, push, feather, or another method is just what I call the sweep and then feather. So first I want to just spread everything out. So I'm just sweeping everything. I just sweep my roller in behind the puddle, pull it towards me. Sweep it in behind, pull it towards me. All right, and then when I get done with that, then I'm going to go back and feather everything. So now I turned it back so my cage is heading back in the opposite direction so that my feathering side is again following. And now I'm going back and just feathering everything out. So those are two different methods then on just basic use of the roller. Then we would go ahead and pour another line of finish and continue with our lines in that manner. But a couple other things in using the roller. One is speed. So when I've got the roller down, I don't want to be whipping it back and forth like this. If I've got a lot of finish on the floor, I'm going to be flipping drips forward onto the wall, onto the base and trim work. Definitely don't want to use that. So just a nice rolling speed. Even with this, you may find that you're flipping drips and stuff once in a while with maybe some thinner products, but not really fast. You don't want to use it that way. And then patting it out. If I think I've got too much finish in my roller, just put a little more down here. If I think I've got a little too much finish, I pull back this puddle and I'm leaving big puddles behind too, right? I might have a little too much. So I can always reach out to a drier area and just roll it out. Just roll some of that excess out. And that might make it a little easier to then go back and pull some of that other excess finish out of your way. You also want to listen to your roller. Again, when I've got too much finish on there, it may actually slide across the floor, so you want to watch it as well. But it may slide and it doesn't make any noise, right? Because it's just riding in that puddle. It's basically riding on top of it. And then when I get the finish worked out, it'll start making noise. So if your roller is being too noisy, it might be telling you that you don't have enough finish in your puddle that you're working out. So I can hear it as I'm getting some of this finish pulled out. I can hear it making you know, kind of a rasping noise as I'm pulling it across because it's getting less and less finish in it. But if I get it back over here where I'm heavy, then it quiets down again. So again, listen to your roller, watch it, make sure it's not skidding across the floor in a big, huge puddle of finish. Use a nice speed on it. And the other thing to remember is, just like if we were painting our wall, we don't always have to have this handle on. So if I got to jump into a closet or a pantry or somewhere where the handle keeps getting into my way, I can always pull that longer handle off and use this as I would a regular paint roller, you know, on the wall, just with the regular handle on it. So that's some basics on how you use the roller. Always remember that wherever I've cut in, I need to go across the roller with it again, just to make sure I have the same application rate. There's a couple different methods when you're working that puddle across your field, whether it's pull, push, feather, or you're doing sweep, 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 feather, feather, feather. Those are both really good methods to use across the field. Listen to your roller. Use it at a nice speed. Don't go too fast or you're going to be flipping drips. If you do get in some heavy areas, know that you can just go over onto a little bit of a drier area to pad it out. A little different than the T-bar, but we still want to get that excess out of the roller. And then you can remove the handle if you need to have it a little more accessible in some tighter spots. So do all those things, practice all those, and you should have a lot of success rolling your floors.